Night in the wilderness, the crunch of leaves and a low growl behind you. Your heart shoots into your throat as you break into a sprint. Something is chasing you, something lethal. Every instinct screams at you to run for your life, to survive.
Now shift scenes. You're in a haunted house with friends, laughing and shrieking as a chainsaw-wielding maniac lunges out of the dark. You paid for this. You chose to be here, to be scared out of your mind, for fun. Moments ago, fear was an unwanted nightmare. Now it's an adrenaline-fueled thrill ride you actually stood in line for. Why do we do this? Why do we run toward the very sensations we evolved to run away from? Humans flee danger to stay alive. Yet we also flock to horror movies, binge true crime stories late at night, seek out haunted houses, and chase extreme sports that send our hearts into overdrive. It's a paradox at the core of our nature. The truth is, we crave fear. Not the genuine terror of real threat, but the controlled fear of a safe encounter with danger. We seek it because on some primal level, we know it prepares us for real threats and awakens something ancient inside us. It's as if part of us remembers that fear itself can be a teacher, a test, even a thrill. Think of fear as a fire drill for the soul. By confronting simulated danger, we practice for reality. The rush of a scary experience forces our hearts, muscles, and minds to perform under stress, just as they would if a predator were truly closing in. When the stakes are life and death, rehearsal can mean survival. And we've been rehearsing in the shadows for millennia. This urge to play with fear isn't unique to humans. Charles Darwin once observed monkeys deathly afraid of snakes, yet irresistibly drawn to peek at them from a safe distance. One by one, they crept up to a box hiding a snake, lifted the lid, then bolted screaming, only for another to sneak over and do the same. Each monkey had to see the danger for itself, as if satisfying its horror and curiosity at once. Biologists call this predator inspection. An animal cautiously approaches what it should run from. It's a risky dance with danger seen across the animal kingdom. Schools of fish will swim up to a shark to understand the threat they face. Gazelles will stot and prance near a lion, testing how it reacts. Fear, it turns out, doesn't always send creatures fleeing without question. Sometimes, it draws them closer, compelled to understand the monster in the dark. Young predators learn through play fear too. Watch wolf pups tussle and snarl, or lion cubs stalking and pouncing on their siblings. Those games look fierce, but it's all practice. Rehearsals for the day when the hunt is real and survival is on the line. Even prey animals engage in risky play. Fox kits darting from and back to their dens, or baby deer bounding nervously then calming themselves. Through playful brushes with fear, the young learn how to regain composure and move deftly under pressure. Human children are no different. We grew up chasing each other in games of tag, playing predator and prey in turns, squealing in half terror, half delight. We told ghost stories at sleepovers, daring ourselves not to cover our eyes. On playgrounds, we tested the limits of height and speed, swinging higher and climbing taller just to feel that tummy tumble of fear and triumph. This is how we discover the edges of our courage. Sadly, the modern world often tries to sterilize these chances to dance with fear. Society pads every corner and cushions every fall until real risk is rare. Yet something in us still hungers for the old risks. Perhaps that's why horror movies and thrill rides are more popular than ever. Ancient instincts finding new theaters to play in. We can't wrestle tiger cubs on the savannah anymore, so we ride roller coasters and summon ghosts in darkened basements. When we voluntarily confront fear, something remarkable happens in our brains. The moment is filled with adrenaline, our fight or flight rocket fuel. Your body tenses, senses heighten, pain vanishes. You're primed to survive. But in a safe setting, once the scare passes, that adrenaline turns into exhilaration. Your brain, flooded with endorphins and dopamine, rewards you for braving the storm. It's the high after the scare, the euphoric relief of "I survived," that leaves you giddy and craving more. This biological victory dance is no accident. In our evolutionary past, surviving a brush with death meant you did something right. So your brain hardwired a celebration for it. Today, even when you know the horror movie isn't real or the bungee cord will hold you, a part of your primitive brain treats the triumph as real. Heart still pounding, you step off the ride or out of the theater feeling a little braver, a little more alive than before. There's also learning happening beneath the thrills. Scientists have found that people who engage with controlled scares often handle anxiety and threats in real life better. It's as though each scary game or movie is a simulator for our psyche, a way to practice emotional regulation and courage. Like an immune system building antibodies, our minds build resilience by facing fake fears so we're readier for the real ones. So on one level, our love of fear makes perfect sense. It's evolution's training ground. From the curious monkeys peering at snakes to us gathering around campfires spinning tales of monsters, we have always used pretend fear to gird ourselves against real danger. But survival training is only half the story. There's another reason the darkness calls to us, a deeper pull from within. Beyond the biology and survival practice, fear speaks to something buried in our psychology. Enter Carl Jung, the psychologist who gave a name to our inner darkness. The shadow. Jung argued that every person carries a shadow, the parts of us we deny or hide, all our worst impulses, secret desires, instincts, and shame, living just out of sight. By day, we wear the mask of civility. We smile, we follow the rules, we present the self society expects. But behind that mask lurks our shadow self. Primitive, chaotic, maybe cruel, maybe lustful, full of everything polite society pretends isn't there. We cage it deep in our unconscious, but it's always with us, peering through our eyes like a wild animal just behind the bars. Jung believed we glimpse our shadow in the stories and dreams that haunt us. The monsters, demons, and ghosts of myth and film. These, he said, are the faces of our personal and collective shadow. The dragon in your nightmare, the zombie on the screen, the serial killer in the true crime story. You can think of each as a mirror, showing a distorted reflection of the dark things inside us. It's no coincidence that horror is populated with creatures of the night. In our dreams and art, Jung noted, the shadow often appears as something dark and frightening. Snakes slithering in the basement of the psyche, or giant beasts stomping through our imagination. He even pointed to Godzilla, the gargantuan movie monster, as an embodiment of the human shadow, destructive, primal power that we normally keep chained. So when we gaze at a monster on the screen, part of us knows we are also gazing into ourselves. This is the deeper magnetism of fear. It forces us to look at our own darkness, safely packaged as an external threat. We get to externalize the shadow to say, that thing is not me. Even as we feel an uncanny recognition. Why do the killer's eyes on screen transfix us so? Perhaps because in them we dimly see our own, glaring back. Horror stories put us in the victim's shoes, heart pounding as the terror hunts us. But they also slyly let us slip into the predator's skin. Think about it. When you watch a slasher film, aren't you also following the killer, predicting his moves? Part of the thrill of horror is the forbidden taste of power. The predator on the screen fears nothing, follows no laws, embodies raw freedom. A corner of our psyche hungers for that feeling. We live so much of our lives as prey, vulnerable to a harsh world, afraid of pain, afraid of death. How tempting to imagine being the one who isn't afraid, who causes fear instead of feeling it. Think of children playing pretend. One pulls on a monster mask and chases the others, reveling in the shrieks they cause. On Halloween, we grown-ups do much the same, becoming witches, vampires, masked killers, finding glee in making others gasp and jump. We swap roles with the boogeyman for a night, indulging the side of us that wants to be formidable, not frail. Even our obsession with true crime has this dual edge. On the surface, we empathize with the victims and feel relief that we're safe. But we also peer into the mind of the killer, trying to understand the predator. It's horrifying. And yet, we can't look away. Some part of us is morbidly curious. What is it like to have no remorse, no fear? Could I ever be like that? We toy with those questions in secret, even as we shudder at the monster. This doesn't mean we're secretly evil for enjoying these stories. It means we contain the capacity for darkness, and we know it. The shadow is there in all of us, whether we admit it or not. Scary stories and games give us a way to dance with that darkness without letting it consume us. In the safety of fiction and play, we let our inner predator out of its cage for a moment, then lock it back up when the credits roll or the lights turn on. Psychologically, this can be healthy if done with eyes open. Jung believed that ignoring the shadow only makes it more dangerous, because what we repress will find a way out. Better to confront it, understand it, even befriend it. When we face fear, whether it's a haunted house or a nightmare we choose not to wake up from, we are really saying to our shadow, "I see you." We stop running and turn to look into those glowing eyes in the dark. And in doing so, we reclaim some control. The child who was scared of the monster under the bed can sleep soundly after realizing the monster was a projection of his own fear. Likewise, we gain power over ourselves by experiencing fear on our terms. We scream and jump and let it all out. And afterward, we feel strangely purified. The shadow is still there, but we've acknowledged it, maybe even learned from it. After the horror ends, we step back into ordinary life, but not exactly the same as before. We carry with us a secret knowledge that beneath our polite smiles, we are not so tame. We remember, if only faintly, that we have fangs and fury of our own should we ever need them. The mundane world looks a little different when you've spent time in the dark. Your cubicle at work or your safe suburban street feels oddly small after you've roamed the jungles of your fear. That's the hidden gift of being afraid. It strips away the trivial. In the moment of real or imagined danger, you aren't worried about taxes or social media or the million petty stresses of modern life. You're face to face with the raw fact of your existence. Fear drags you into the now, into your body, into the reality that you are a living creature trying to survive. In a strange way, that's profoundly grounding. Our ancestors lived in that state of alertness often. They had to, with death always a rustle in the night. Modern life lulls us into a comfortable sleep, forgetting the instincts that kept us alive. But when you willingly walk into a horror experience, you reawaken those dormant instincts. The ancient watcher inside you opens its eyes. Your ears prick, your skin tingles. For a short time, you see and hear like a creature in the wild again, vividly aware of what it means to be alive. We return to fear again and again, not because we want to suffer, but because some part of us wants to remember. Remember the feeling of your heart pounding with purpose. Remember the taste of danger and the sweet relief of escaping it. Remember that beneath the mask of civility, you still carry the survivor's fire that lit the eyes of your ancestors. And it teaches us. Each time we confront a fear and come out the other side, we grow. The more you brave the haunted house, the more you realize you can handle the real terrors life throws your way. A job loss, a heartbreak, a pandemic. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the ability to carry on despite it. And courage is a skill we can practice. Every spooky thrill is a training montage for your mind and soul. So yes, we deliberately scare ourselves. And it's not as crazy as it sounds. It's an ancient impulse wearing modern masks. It's the monkey peeking at the snake, reborn as the teenager buying a ticket to the latest slasher film. It's the lion-cub's play fight, reborn as a skydiver's leap out of a plane. Through fear, we find a kind of truth and transformation that comfort can never give. This truth can be disturbing. It reveals that we are not purely good or purely safe. We are prey and predator both, civil and savage all at once. But knowledge is power. Knowing this, we can choose how to live with it. We no longer have to be blindly driven by fear or secretly controlled by our shadow. We can face them with eyes open. Now you see the game for what it is. Fear was never just an enemy to run from, but a mentor to learn from, and a mirror to our own nature. The question is, what will you do with this insight? You can push it aside and go back to numbly avoiding what scares you. Or you can carry it with you, using it to become more awake and alive. Think about your own life. What fears have you been avoiding, and what might change if you face them head on? Every fear hides a truth about what you value, what you need to protect, or what you must integrate within yourself. If you shy away, you remain a stranger to those truths. If you confront them, even in small ways, you start to reclaim parts of your soul that you've kept locked up. Before we leave this shadowy trail, I have a request. Write one sentence in the comments, not a reaction or a platitude. Just one raw, honest sentence about what your fear has taught you about yourself. It's a small but powerful act, turning fear into truth. By speaking that sentence, you're shining a light on your shadow, if only a candle's worth. You might find that others have similar shadows, similar truths, waiting in the dark. In that shared darkness, none of us are truly alone. This knowledge is dark, yes, but it is also a form of light that gives you power over yourself. You've taken a tour through terror and emerged wiser. You've seen that the scariest monsters are often reflections wearing our face. And now, you have a choice of which part of you to feed. The fear that keeps you small, or the understanding that sets you free. Disappear now back into your world. Live boldly, knowing what lurks in your heart. And when you feel the pull of the dark again, when you crave the thrill of the hunt or the chill of the chase, come back here. I'll be waiting for you, as I always am, in the shadows at the edge of the forest, eyes glinting from the darkness, where fear and truth finally meet, where the hunter and the hunted are one.